back then. Nowadays, that's not ironic. They actually do believe Notre Dame actually thinks the Fighting Irish Leprechaun is, racist. So I think that it put them in a really tough predicament because they were forced to ban the Lucky Charms, which was ridiculous, or violate their own campus speech code. So that was the beginning, and then I met Lila Rose and went into Planned Parenthood, and we sort of go after the sacred cows, the organizations that the media won't touch.
One second.
Sorry about that. We had a little FBI interference. We're running with that with the FBI. Turn your mic back on. Here we go. We're going to put all the mics back on.
Never too soon. Never too soon.
Too soon.
Okay. Well.
Too soon.
All right. So James, you got your start, and you've really blown up in the past few years, and it's because, like you said, you're doing the things that the media doesn't want to talk about for whatever reason. I'm going to say biases, but recently you just broke the internet. Literally, you literally broke the internet with your Pfizer whistleblower story.
He already broke the internet way before that.
He's broken the internet every time his face is on there, but
I think his internet has broken the internet more than Kim Kardashian's derriere. It started with that Google element. When you did the Google stuff, I think that really was the champagne on the tush.
And you know what's even more amazing? This guy doesn't have a Twitter. Facebook is shadow banning him. Instagram he's on his way out on Instagram. And somehow, before we get into the Pfizer stuff, every time you do a story, it's trending on Twitter.
Distribution by proxy.
Aha.
Distribution proxy. Yeah, this is pretty amazing. I'm banned on Twitter. I've been since we quoted this chest saying CNN is propaganda. By the way, they banned me for quoting somebody. They should be banning the person I'm quoting. I just literally show people in their own words. We don't opine on the subject matter in question. All we do is show Pfizer scientists and CNN employees talking. So he banned on Twitter, and my team sitting over at that table, Eric Spracklin is our comms person. Why don't you stand up, Eric? Eric Spracklin.
Very important guy with Project Veritas.
Very important guy.
And you know who's another really important guy that set this all up with Project Veritas? Matthew Tierman, who's also working with Getter.
Matthew Tierman. So what's interesting is that since that we've been banned on Twitter, every story that we have done has trended on Twitter. So people say, what are you going to do when you get banned? I say, I'm not worried about being banned. I'm not worried about being. I say, Mark Zuckerberg, please do ban me. Because if you do that, you're only going to empower our information, our stories, and all of you. You're all going to keep sharing the stories, right? So I don't, and maybe this is an unorthodox view, but I don't fear losing my Twitter account any more than I fear being hated by the New York Times. I welcome bans as long as all of you are willing to continue tweeting the videos, which you all apparently have done. So that's my philosophy on censorship and what's happened.
So we want to talk about Pfizer. Pretend like we haven't heard this story, because this story is so important that you need to reiterate it. Tell us what happened, how you got in, and why it was so important.
It's amazing what people will say across the table at a restaurant to someone they don't know is recording. This is a Pfizer scientist. A few stories we've done. I think one of the biggest ones was Nick at Pfizer, scientist, who said that your antibodies are more effective than the vaccine, but don't tell anybody.
Don't tell.
Now, this is something that you all know to be true, but the fact that a scientist at Pfizer with a master's degree in, neuroscience would say it, we got that on tape. We also had an HHS federal whistleblower, Jody, on tape
She's the runner, right? The runner?
Is she the runner? No, that's Vanessa.
Oh, okay.
Vanessa Gilman at Pfizer.
Sorry. She's my favorite.
There's been a lot of whistleblowers. Oh, Vanessa. We'll get to Vanessa in a minute.
Sorry.
Jody at HHS blew the whistle. This is a current federal government employee, and she was in an ER room, and people were talking about myocarditis and health issues that were not reported to the CDC. She blew the whistle, and I asked her, aren't you afraid? And she said, I put my faith in God, not man.
Yes. Amen.
And then as a result of what she did, there's been like 12 more whistleblowers working with us, including people inside Pfizer, current pharmaceutical. Now, Pfizer, if you actually watch CNN or ABC News, they sponsor all the media. Brought to you by Pfizer. We did
Did you
it at the
guys
same
plan
time.
that? Did you plan that? That was good.
Anderson Cooper, brought to you by Pfizer. Good Morning America,
Nice.
brought to you by Pfizer.
Everything.
Potato Head, brought to you by Pfizer.
So this is a very serious point. It's not just politics, it's economics. The commercial imperative, advertising is often incompatible with investigative reporting. And all these Pfizer people have come to us, and recently we exposed Vanessa Gelman.
Oh, my favorite one.
This is the best one. This is the director of research at Pfizer in Washington, D.C. This is like one of the top people at Pfizer Pharmaceutical.
Gold medal sprinter.
In an email, Vanessa Gelman says that the vaccine and the development and testing was derived from fetal cells, and she says, don't tell anybody this.
I see a common thread here. Don't
tell anybody.
That usually works.
And this is what we tell everybody. So Vanessa writes this in an email, and she says all of her executives at Pfizer, are you sure we can't? No, don't tell anybody. So this woman in Kansas, at the Kansas plant, Melissa, blows the whistle, gives us the emails. She sits, she talks, she does what the paragon of investigative journalists do. She sits down in a chair, goes on the record while employed. Pfizer fires Melissa. Melissa raises some $300,000 on Give, Send, Go.
Good.
And we confront Vanessa in Washington, D.C., where she lives. We get out. How many of you have seen
Have
this
you
video?
seen this?
So if you have not seen
Look it up
Vanessa,
right now.
Vanessa at Pfizer, you should link to this. Vanessa gets out of the car, looks at, not me, it's one of my colleagues, and the look of fear in her
Like this.
face. And
Her soul left the body.
Literally.
Her soul left her body, and she ran as fast as she can, which wasn't that fast.
Saying that she run is a little generous.
It was as fast as she could run, but it wasn't that fast.
Yeah, she's not an athletic gal.
And the memes that came out, they were the funniest memes I've ever seen in my life. We laughed until we cried.
And then laughed some more.
And then laughed some more. So that was what happened, Vanessa Gelman. And the great part about it is this woman ran. I mean, she bolted. And I've never seen someone run away like that. And people say, are you afraid? Aren't you afraid? Oh, aren't you afraid? You're going to ask me this question. And I say, not as much as they're afraid of Project Veritas.
Woo! So true.
And of the truth. They're afraid of the truth because all we're doing is quoting these people. I'm not offering my opinion. I'm not even going to tell you what my opinion is on the vaccine because it doesn't matter.
Right.
What matters is what they said. They said the vaccine's derived from fetal cells in development and testing, and trending, but continue.
My only fear for all of us, because we're all like-minded individuals here, is the leftists don't see our information. We are living in a bit of an echo chamber. Do you feel that people are waking up and seeing the work that you're doing, that we are getting through the shield towards leftism and penetrating that?
I like the fact that you brought up the echo chamber thing because this is an echo chamber right now. And I don't, you know,
It's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing. It's important to get your message out, but we've got to reach beyond the echo chamber. At Veritas, one of the proudest moments of the last 2 months was the teacher in Sacramento, Gabriel Geit, who was a teacher with a flag in his classroom that said Antifa. He had a hammer and sickle on his shirt, and I'm not making this up. I swear to God, he would stamp the kids' homework assignments with an ink stamp with a face of Joe Stalin.
I would have never become a homeschool teacher faster in my life.
We only knew about this because someone inside the school, whistleblower, came to us with a picture of this. We sent one of our reporters to interview Geit at a coffee shop in Sacramento, where he proceeded to say he wants to turn all of his students into revolutionaries. He's got 180 days to do that, and he wants to F with kids, with your kids.
And your taxpayer money.
With your money. Literally communist, not a figurative communist. He identified himself as a communist. This story was picked up by every single local CBS affiliate in Northern California. it was picked up by all of the mainstream media. And that's what we really need to do. They picked it up not because of what I recorded, but because of the fact that the Sacramento School District fired the teacher. In California, which is a very difficult state for anybody to be fired. So it was the reaction to the news that prompted the mainstream media to report it. In other words, it's not the action, but the reaction that causes the reaction in the mainstream press. And that's how we can escape the echo chamber, because we do need to get beyond the, and I think that's what we do at Veritas. We try to get the media to cover it.
And I think we have lost the mainstream media. They're basically a Democrat super PAC. We have lost social media. We have lost newspapers. We have very little in the mainstream world to keep us sane and spoken for. But at least now these people know I might be recorded by Project Veritas, and that keeps them on the straight and narrow. And that should make you proud.
Well, I think we are the media. My message is stop complaining about the media and be the media. I mean, we've lost the media. First of all, I would submit to you that it's not impossible to be covered by them. In fact, we're going to shove the truth down their throats.
Like foie gras.
Like foie gras. How do you pronounce foie?
Just like that.
Foie gras. Foie gras. Isn't it foie gras illegal in California?
Probably, like everything else. Happiness is illegal in California.
Being able
we are going to I think that might be the quote. We're going to shove the truth down their
That
throat.
quote is in Breakthrough. We're going to shove the truth down their throats and force them to cover our news by virtue of the fact that I think journalism is the only thing that can save us. I think the only thing that communists fear at this point in time is being exposed. There's nothing else. They don't fear the government.
No.
They don't fear education. They don't fear. The only thing the people that you're fighting against fear is being revealed. Think about that. And that's the thing that's going to save us, really, if anything can save us. Because if that doesn't save us, I don't know what can save us.
I'll save you.
Uncle Eddie.
But, Uncle Eddie is not wrong, because we need local patriots in every community. When people say, what can I do at home? Run for school board. Be a part of the community. You're a restaurant owner that has a voice and says, no, I'm not going to kowtow to the left and shut down. I'm going to have a sign in front of my restaurant that says, if you basically voted for Joe Biden, don't come here.
Well, like I always say, you can't be canceled if you don't let yourself be canceled.
Amen.
They are just ruthless, and they do that on purpose because they know it takes the strongest of people to be able to fight back against that. And James, going back on one of your previous points, you said these people are scared of the truth, right? And isn't it funny? I find this issue all the time. I recently did a report where I had some people go on record about the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, and they threw out some allegations of money laundering and how this organization isn't actually helping the conservative Hispanic outreach. Instead of these people, which I gave them 3 days to respond to my questions before I went forward with the report with the people on camera, they just sent me a cease and desist. We're going to sue you. Well, it's been 6 weeks since I've gotten that letter, 4 weeks. And I'm not being sued. You know why? Because then they have to prove in court, under oath, that my reports are indeed false. But again, going back to what you said is, we're not making these claims. We're the journalists. Yeah. They project onto you.
Yeah, that's what I always say in the Retracto videos. They are what they hate. They project onto us. Who said that? Lenin? Who said that the accuse your enemy of that which you are guilty of? Zelensky, and before him, someone from the Bolsheviks. This is what they do so effectively. It's a very evil tactic. It's immoral, because I would never do that. I would never falsely accuse someone of something. But that is precisely what they do, and that's why it's tough to be someone who's fighting them. But a lot of this comes down to, I guess, the courage to, I think it comes down to the courage to be disliked, and I would even say
I love it.
Well, that's what makes you unique. Because you're going to have to be disliked if you're going to be a truth teller, or at least avoid being hated. And I think that a lot of the people on the right, even though they talk a big game about it, I think they actually secretly don't want to be disliked by people who can influence public perception. And CNN and the New York Times, their power is derived from their relationship with Google and Twitter.
Of course.
So they have the power to influence public perception, and people want to avoid being hated. So they just don't do the thing that's going to make them hated.
And again, it goes back to being canceled. They're afraid that they're going to lose their power. And I see it all the time, and it's really frustrating because I deal with these politicians when I talk to them on the state level, and I'm like, why aren't you doing this? This is the right thing to do. And he's like, oh, they'll tell me behind, off camera. It is, Brendan, I know. And I'm like, then why aren't you doing it? Well, there's this. No, there's nothing. Do the right thing. That's it, period. And that's what our politicians need to start thinking about.
You need some of these.
I think it takes brass balls to make undercover videos.
Where's Uncle Eddie? He's Captain Big Balls. Yeah. Oh, he's got a headset on. Look at this.
Oh my God, Uncle Eddie on the microphone.
It takes brass balls to run a restaurant like yours. It takes brass balls to be a truth teller.
Thank you, Dave.
Someone gave these to me, so I'm.
That's a great gift. That's a truly great gift.
Real funny. I met Eddie about 3 weeks ago, and I heard about his sign. I was like, perfect. I need to come out here. I don't know if any of you guys know this name right here, Alfie Oakes. Have anyone heard? Raise your hand if you know Alfie. Oh, we got some Alfie Oakes fans here. Alfie Oakes and Eddie are the same person. He's the West Coast version. This is the East Coast version.
It's not like gangster rap, but there's no rivalries. We're all on the same team.
Yeah, no. Alfie owns Seed to Table, the best grocery store in America in Naples.
Yes, I've heard of this place. It's like
you're coming,
Central, right? I'm coming.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I want an invitation.
This is where Patriot Talk Show was born. It was Seed to Table in Naples.
Like MAGA everywhere, right? Explain to everyone. Like
it's literally the conservative safe haven of America. Like you go there and you
buy things, and it's conservative.
It's amazing. Everything.
People in New York, that's mind bending.
And
that's mind bending.
So with Seed to Table in Collier County, those idiots put a mask mandate through unconstitutionally. The commissioners, Alfie from the start, he just opened up Seed to Table. He said, screw this, I don't care if I go under, I'm not doing this. Put up a sign at the front door, similar to what Eddie did, and it was the pictures of our commissioners. The one that voted in favor of the mask mandate had a communist hat on them, and they did not bend the knee. They did not do any sort of mask mandates. He was fined, what, 50 grand or something like that? He was fined a lot of money and won, but the point being, he took a stand and he won, and that's what Eddie is doing, and I'm so happy to have both of them in the same room.
You never bend to the left this much. Go ahead.
And it's not all about, when you said if you voted for Biden, it's not if you voted for Biden. I don't care who you voted for, Republican and Democrat, it doesn't matter to me. If you still believe this guy is doing a good job, then we have a problem.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up.
A lot of people voted for him.
I don't think there's a lot of people in this room that voted for Joe Biden.
A lot of cousins voted, and now they're saying, what the hell did I do? What, am I crazy? You guy's a moron.
Buyer's remorse.
Joe Biden is a moron. Quote it, Uncle Eddie, in Jupiter. So, James, something I like to do. Nick, let's get the fancy camera out. We're gonna change camera angles here.
Fancy camera.
I want to get the audience involved. That's the best part about Patriot Talk shows. You guys come out to hear this in person. We're gonna take a couple questions. I'm gonna get back there. I know the VIPs got to meet them, so if I don't pick you, don't hate me. It's the worst part of this job. But James, we're gonna take a couple questions. You down? I didn't vet these questions, so don't say anything stupid, please, everybody. Thank you. She was the first one that raised her hand. I'm coming to her. Nick, we good? You got me over here on camera, on the live stream, everyone watching at home, too. All right, tell us your name, where you're from.
Carol McCormick, Jupiter.
And what's your question? And make sure you project yourself so everyone can hear you.
All right, so I saw your history. It was life-changing. I have a 11 and 12-year-old child, well, children. And children need to know grit. And when you had that history of your life, it was life-changing to me. And I told my husband about it. And I said, I need to get this. I knew you from Planned Parenthood years ago on Fox when I saw it. But what I wanted to ask you, is your father still alive? Because that story with your grandfather and the addict, and I wanted to know the more history of your family.
Thank you. My dad's still alive. He's 66. My grandfather passed away, but I don't. You're referring to the beginning of my life. Yeah. I think the older I get, the more I appreciate how unique my upbringing was. And I'm James Okeefe III. My father, James Okeefe Jr. My grandfather. We grew up in this, lower middle class family in New Jersey, and in this house, this carriage house that we renovated together. I was like 6 years old. And then as soon as it was complete, it was such a remarkable achievement that the state of New Jersey gave my father like a house fire came, and I spent the next couple of years of my life doing it all over again. So at a very young age, that taught me resilience, and then working with people who work with their hands, and I didn't really like doing the work, by the way. And they would always say, I'm going to be doing something different than this. And then I was arrested by the guy when I was 25, falsely accused of something I did not do, and was jailed and then released from jail and then spent 3.5 years under federal supervision, basically confined in a way that no one had been in those circumstances. And I'm, to be falsely accused, and we're talking federal prison, like federal, is a serious thing. And I was going through this terror. Will I ever survive this? This was 12 years ago. But I'm happy that I went through that, because out of the ashes, Project Veritas was born. I was forced to send cameras to other people. And the feds confined me. I wrote a book about it, which is sitting on your table. It's called Breakthrough. That was the first book. All of the people that prosecuted me resigned in disgrace. And they... It's very nuanced, which is why it's so difficult, but they were blogging about these prosecutors, United States attorneys, were going on the newspaper articles and commenting anonymously, which is a huge violation of federal ethics. And when I was arrested, the agent, this is in Louisiana, I was with my iPhone camera trying to ask questions. And when they arrested me and said, you're the guy that did the Acorn thing. I said, yeah, that's me. Like, what me? Yes, I make videos. I'm a YouTube guy. And then the guy goes, yeah, we're gonna have to put you in jail. And I wish I had a recording of that interaction with those FBI people. And this is 12 years ago, before Michael Flynn. I think we all now distrust these institutions and we're skeptical. But I scrubbed all the people I thought that were my friends, threw me on the bus in a New York minute. And I had no money, I had no organization. I was then living back in that carriage house I spent my childhood building with my grandfather. And I started sending cameras to other people around the country because I couldn't leave. And I survived that. And the world is round. And all those prosecutors resigned in disgrace. And some of them were disbarred for violation of their federal ethics laws. So we just kept going. So that's my story. And like I said, I didn't know at the time. I actually remember thinking I was on federal supervised probation, unable to go anywhere I'm thinking, what am I going to do? But I also, sometimes the most important thing is just keep going. You just keep moving, keep doing journalism, keep going. And the only one that can really stop us is us. They have tremendous power, and Laura Logan told this to me. They do have tremendous power, but frankly, that's in part because we choose to surrender to them, and we choose to give them that power. We give CNN their power. We give Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg all this power because we make decisions based upon fear. I've come to peace that I could face false accusations. I've been to jail. It's not fun. But I'm at peace with the fact that I could face false accusation. But I also actually believe that if that were ever to happen, everyone in this room would revolt.
I love it. Hey, Aaron, we're going to change the camera angle over here again. We're going to get another question. You know, like when you're at a baseball game, don't you feel bad for the people like all the way in the grandstands that don't get the foul balls because you just don't have the arm strength? Well, we got the arm strength. So we're going to get a question from the back over here, James. It was you, right? All right, so talk nice and clear into the mic. Tell us your name, where you're from, and then what's your question, okay?
My name is Charlotte Herizuelo from Boynton Beach. I'm a Hispanic, retired law enforcement deplorable.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you do. My question is, my father is a far-left loony in New Jersey. Can you give us a sneak preview for Monday night at 8 p.m.?
Oh, you stole my question for later.
Hold on. We were going to get to that to end the show. Do you have another question? All right. I want to make sure she gets it. We're going to get to that.
We'll answer that at the end.
Yeah.
How is the rebuilding of your organization building from the storm?
Yes, we speaking of resilience, our office was destroyed in a freak flood of Hurricane Ida in Westchester, New York, which 6-7 feet of water came and destroyed everything. So we're rebuilding that space and thinking about moving to Florida.
Jupiter!
hang on. If you want James O'Keefe,
Jupiter.
if you want Project Veritas to move to Florida, make some noise.
Get out of New York.
You got your buddy Matt Tiermont standing.
I've never seen
Matt
people so
Tiermont is
excited.
standing.
You guys are.
Everyone is telling you this.
I mean, this is like the most effective lobby I've ever seen.
Why don't you move Mr. O'Keefe Jr. to...
Mr. Okeefe Jr.
James, we got office space. He's offering right here.
Who's got office space?
Matt, let's get his number.
All
There's
right.
office space everywhere.
The thing about Florida is everyone, like Tampa, this place, that place, everyone wants me to go to their
This
city
is better
in
than
Florida.
Tampa, no offense.
Like-
We got a beach. We got a beach.
Like you're all divided on where.
South Florida's pretty good. Southwest Florida.
Listen, this is a good fight to have. Florida
Sorry,
is
guys.
good.
As long as it's Florida.
Because it's all good.
All right, so we got one more question. Nick, we all meet with the camera? We're going to get one more question from the audience over here. Talk nice and clear into the mic, your name, where you're from, and what your question is for James.
Hi, James. My name is Dash. I'm
Great
from.
name.
Thank you. I'm from West Palm Beach. I'm just curious about your lawsuit with the New York Times. I'd like to get a status update. I'm really looking forward to your depositions.
Ooh. That's going to be the biggest thing that happened in journalism in 50 years.
Yes.
Because we have, as you all know, we sued the New York Times for defamation, and we are winning. We got past motion to dismiss, which only a handful of people have been able to do. Most people, again, don't have the will to sue the New York Times. The New York Times covered our voter fraud video in Minnesota. This is the problem, by the way. We got a guy on tape in Minnesota actually harvesting ballots illegally. He said it was a crime. It's a federal felony to fill out someone's ballot. He's in the car with all these ballots. We got him on video. No, it wasn't even our video. He filmed himself and put it on a Snapchat. I just yanked the video down from one of his friends. So he filmed himself. The New York Times first sentence is a fake, deceptive video with no evidence. Literally like something out of George Orwell, 1984. You know, you have objective reality, and they're saying it's not real. So I don't like suing people. I've usually always been sued. By the way, Project Veritas has never lost a lawsuit, not once. So, I mean, we've won in federal jury trial. We've won against the FBI. I sued the FBI and won. We've won all these lawsuits, and we don't settle litigation. That's the thing we don't do. Because sometimes it'll cost us $1 million over the $50,000 settlement, but we believe in doing what's right, no matter the cost. So eventually these lawsuits get to the point where they have to confront the logic and it's no longer emotional or political. It'll get to a jury, it'll get to summary judgment in federal court. And in one of these cases, the federal judge, this is in North Carolina, actually looked at the people in this is a federal courtroom, cameras are not allowed, but there was a transcript, and the federal judge goes, if Mike Wallace from CBS News was sued for what y'all are suing James O'Keefe for, everyone in this courtroom would laugh. Because that's what it's really about. It's not about the facts of the law. So we win all these cases, and now we're going on offense. We're suing the New York Times, Twitter, and CNN. We get this motion to dismiss. The New York Times freaked out. The New York Times filed an emergency, appeal to the Supreme Court. Oh, this is dangerous. We can't have this. They lost. So now we're going to be scheduling videotaped depositions with New York Times reporters under oath in a conference room. I will sit right next to them. And we're going to ask them questions like, why didn't you pick up the phone and call Jamal for comment? It says in your ethics code you're supposed to. Why didn't you call him? And you're going to see them squirm and sweat under oath in that deposition room. The same, I've been deposed. Please do depose me. I got nothing to hide. I've been deposed 12 times. They got nothing on me. But if you put any of those New York Times reporters under oath, I guarantee you it's going to be better than any Hollywood movie. And that's what this is really about. We're going to win. We're going to defeat the New York Times. And by the way, there should be 50 other people suing the New York Times for defamation. We need a People's Defamation Defense Fund in this country. People need to stop seeking their approval. So we're going to win. Stay tuned. It's going to be fireworks.
Before we get to the last part, someone wanted me to give you a card. I got to be a man of my word.
Thank you.
So if you need a house, she's got you.
They're going to give me a house?
They're good.
No, not
That's what she told me. She's going to give you a house.
You guys really want me to move to Florida.
She's back there. So
I
before
want to just be a realtor, but whatever.
before we get
Don't knock the
to
hustle.
Now, can you get me a dock for my sailboat? That's the real issue.
Yes, that's nothing.
I heard that's like impossible.
Not here. A boat slip, they call that. Right?
Alfie has an island. Just park it right
Sure you do,
out. Before we get to the last part that we promised you we'd talk about the teaser of the next story, we got two people I want to give a shout out that are in this room. Ana Paulina Luna, who is running for Congress. Oh, you have to stand up. I know. You weren't dressed up. Running for Congress out of St. Pete. She was endorsed by President Trump. She is turning a blue district red, and she's going to be one of the reasons why we take back the House in 2022. So I wanted to make sure she got the shout out. And we got another one right here. Drew Montez Clark is going up against Mario Diaz-Balart, another rhino. Mario Diaz-Balart voted in favor of kicking Marjorie Taylor Greene off of her assignments. Can you be any anti-conservative than that? And Drew said, you know what? That's not the type of person we want in Congress. I'm going to step up and I'm going to primary you. And that's exactly what he's doing.
Okay, can I finish with a two-part question? Oh, wait. Thank God.
We got another congresswoman? Oh, man, I'm doing a really bad job over here.
Melissa Marks.
Melissa Marks, running for Congress. Be conservative. That's all I can say to you.
Right.
I love it. Courageous conservative, she said, for everyone that's at home. All right, two-part question. Erin, go.
So the one thing we haven't talked about is the fact that you're a total Renaissance man. We know you're brave. We know you're bold. We know you're also a bit of a thespian. What was that? And good looking, of course. If People's 50 Best Looking would allow conservatives, he would be on the cover. But explain your love of theater, because you just did Oklahoma, right?
Yes, I did.
I watched some pieces online that I saw. You're an amazingly talented guy on all fronts. Like, how do you become such a Renaissance man, and where does this come from?
I think actually, Veritas, Latin for truth, right? It's amazing how people don't know what the word means. Veritas, Latin for truth, motto of Harvard. I think I'm more of an artistic person than a political person, honestly. And I think you would agree with that. I'm not really motivated by politics. I'm not being critical of politics, but politics is about the accumulation of power and the pursuit of that power. And I think that Veritas is more about the revelation, the revealing of truth, as you said, the good, the true, and the beautiful. So I think that getting the truth to people, our version of that is cinema verite, which is, we believe that truth is 24 frames per second. So it's just reality. All of Veritas does expose reality. That's all it is. Now, the fact that reality has become politicized is a tragedy.
It is.
It's horrible. But I think that a lot of us are more artistic than political. Therefore, I, in high school, did musical theater, and I was invited by Brian Cloudis, who's, I guess, also a political person in Florida, who's a director, and he invited me to try out for the musical Oklahoma, and I did so. And it's one of my hobbies, is musical theater.
Well, you did great. You're good at everything, it seems.
You want a song?
Yes, a song.
Who wants James to sing?
Uncle Eddie has music.
I want James to sing.
Uncle Eddie, you got music.
Should we do Poor Judd, or should we do Oklahoma?
He wants.
Poor Judd. We heard.
Can you do this, Eddie?
You know how Poor Judd is dead?
Can you play a song so he can sing?
I don't think he's ready for the song. You gotta go a cappella.
So while Uncle Eddie's gonna work on the song, while he's working on the song, so as I was walking in tonight, a woman named the Muff Report. I don't know if she's conservative or not. She's from New Jersey, and she sent me a screenshot of his upcoming drop that's dropping on Monday, which my friend in the back said. So on Monday, you have someone undercover, Phil Murphy. Tell us everything.
We have infiltrated the Phil Murphy campaign.
Thank God.
And I'm from New Jersey. I'm from northern New Jersey. So there'll be tapes and revelations Monday night showing people inside Phil Murphy's inner circle telling us what they really think.
Can you give us a nugget of what they really think?
I cannot do that.
Wow. And this race is close.
It is, and
Do you think this is going to change it and make it
I mean, we did this in Florida with the Ron DeSantis versus, what was his name, Gillum, and that was a very close race. Right, but people, you have to remember how close that election was. And we caught Andrew Gillum's guy on tape saying, don't tell the voters what we really believe. because it's a theme in purple states and red states. Democrats oftentimes have to deceive the voters prior to winning the election. And then after they win, they're going to enact all these policies that
They want to vaccinate children, mandatory
but
masks.
they'll say, don't tell anybody this. And that's precisely the sort of thing that we capture into our little button camera across from the table there. So New Jersey, same exact situation. There are things they want to hide from the voters, and they say they want to hide from the voters, and we just happen to get all that stuff on a hidden cam. We're going to release at 8 o'clock Monday.
You know what's one of my favorite lines from Joe Rogan? He said it a while back. I think it was the CNN story when you got the whistleblower. He's like, man, your reporters must be hot to get these people to just talk. How do you do that?
I can neither confirm nor deny. I mean, listen, it's so much of undercover work.
Get them on Tinder, right? Like dating apps?
Yeah, but men's brains
Swipe
tend
and left.
to turn to mush if it's too much in that direction.
How do you just sit there? Do your reporters just sit there like, I gotta find Charlie on
That's Matt
Tinder?
Tiermon's job.
How do you find them?
I think that a lot of undercover work is about building rapport and meeting the need for the subject. So you really have to take an interest in them as people, and that's how you can build a rapport. It's less what you would think. Some of these people may not be as attractive as you might believe, but they're just really good at building a rapport with someone and becoming someone that they feel like they can open up with.
You should start a sales school because these people, if they're good at this, they'll probably be really good at sales.
What's that?
Project Veritas Real Estate
No, it's
Agency.
we're
Coming
spread too
soon.
thin.
Undercover Real Estate by Project
Here's a
Veritas.
question for you that I don't think you get asked a lot. How long does it take on average for these undercover journalists to build this relationship? I feel like it's not just like an overnight thing.
Sometimes it takes. I mean, David Daleiden at Planned Parenthood, it took him 2-3 years, and sometimes it takes a New York minute. It really. I mean, Andrew Gillum, that happened in 5 minutes. This was Andrew Gillum's college roommate, friend, campaign person, literally said, that's not to know. Voters, not voters to know. It's politics is a fairy tale world. We're not going to enact all the things we're saying. He said that 5 minutes into the conversation.
And like a canary.
Sang like a canary. And
Like James O'Keefe is about to do for us.
Oh boy.
How's that going? We got it set up? What song are we playing?
I can sing whatever you want me to sing.
Oklahoma, okay.
Why don't you just play the beginning of Oklahoma?
Wow.
I mean,
I think you
what
need
is
room.
what are you gonna? Is it YouTube or?
Let's go.
Music. Guys, I got breaking news. I am very, very upset. You probably already know this, but I didn't realize I can't do this, and it's really pissing me off. I just filmed James and his beautiful voice, and I was going to tag him on Instagram story, and it says, can't mention James. James O'Keefe can't be mentioned because it has repeatedly posted content that goes against our community guidelines on false content about COVID-19 or vaccines. Do you not know about this?
Take a screenshot.
I just broke Project Veritas news, all right?
I guess Zuckerberg's most afraid of pursuing.
He shouldn't be because that was something.
Wow.
But I didn't. I couldn't.
Wow,
There's no room to do the dance portion. So you got the a cappella version.
Can we do another show?
Perhaps.
I'm just really annoyed that I can't tag you.
What else can he sing? What do you got, Eddie?
What do you want?
New York, New York.
We're going to make James sing one more
Can you
song.
sing one more song, New York, New York.
I don't know the lyrics to that one.
Okay, what do you know?
A duet.
That's a lot.
I mean, you want another Oklahoma? Or what do you want?
Okay, a little more.
Which one?
No, that will put me in an early grave.
Time warp. You're not there. What do you want?
What else?
What do you know?
You need to sing any song?
James, you're allowed to say no. It's okay.
What do you think, Pat?
Matt, what
Poor
should he
Judd
sing?
is dead.
Poor
Poor Judd is dead.
Poor Judd is dead.
Poor Judd is dead.
All right, so we got one more song, and then we're going to start wrapping up this show so that Eddie can also feed other people.
Who knew that you had dinner and a show tonight, ladies and gentlemen?
I've tried to. I hope I remember all the lyrics. It's been 2 months.
All right, they don't have it. So.
I think that's a wrap. Thank you all.
we
Ladies
tried.
and gentlemen, James O'Keefe, right? And Brendan.
We really tried to get it up. One more time, guys. Get on your feet. James O'Keefe, Project Veritas. You guys are watching the Patriot Talk Show live at Uncle Eddie's. Let's give one more round of applause for Uncle Eddie's Restaurante for taking a stand against the woke here in Jupiter, Florida, South Florida, Florida in general. We love you. Thank you very much for hosting us. Thank you for coming out tonight. God bless everyone. And James Okeefe is coming out with some big stories. Be on the lookout. If you're watching at home on Facebook and Twitter, make sure you click that share and retweet button for us. God bless everyone and have a great rest of your night.